Sci-fi as a storyteller affords you to do quite a few things that you can't do in other genres.
3, 2, 1.
Action. Welcome to the set of Raised by Wolves.
You're gonna love it. Can I say that?
Look badass.
That's good.
Have you seen this explosion?
Oh, God! You guys are sick, man.
I'm going for the kill.
I want to see it out of range. Did you get that shit? It's not jump school, believe me.
I'm a huge science fiction nerd and always have been, so I have all of this stuff floating around inside of my head that I've just been dying to put out there. One of which was this idea of what would we do if we had the opportunity to restart civilization somewhere, especially if we had the knowledge of what went wrong and what went right on Earth. What would we take with us? What would we choose to leave behind?
Raised by Wolves. It's a very rare look at the idea that generally comes under the heading of science fiction. The story is about the beginning of everything. It's the new beginning. In essence, you're starting all over again because the world has actually finally met its demise.
The idea of androids and artificial intelligence was something I was very interested in. But this story, a lot of it has to do with the planet itself and a planet that is like Earth and yet unlike Earth. Kepler 22b is a real planet that was discovered. It's extremely far away, so we don't know exactly what it looks like. But it does seem to have some Earth-type characteristics. It's in the Goldilocks zone, and presumably, if you were able to get a human being there, they would be able to survive as we survive here on Earth. In terms of the science fiction of it all, this planet is almost a haunted planet. You get a feeling that something's been here before, but you don't know exactly what.
I like to think that the planet's nearly sentient, in the way that it wants certain things to happen.
It's a planet definitely full of mystery.
Part of the other interesting aspect of it is the way we experience this planet is we're on the ground. They don't really have the ability to fly around and explore the whole thing. And so it can be extremely terrifying just trying to live and survive.
Sci-fi is not a new territory to Ridley. So before we even start looking for locations, the costume, the sets, we have an idea of his vision.
With Raised by Wolves, we were looking for the two extremes, the complete apocalyptic look with the sort of barren landscape. So we chose Cape Town, South Africa to shoot, and we kind of thought we could make it work because we had found this little farm. Ridley, he just flown in from Los Angeles to London, London into Cape Town, and he turned around and he said, we couldn't be in the most wrong place. So I'm sitting there saying, well, look, if we take all the topsoil off, and if we build it up here and we build it up there, and he said, if you can make it work, it'll be great. And then we drove off. And I thought, uh-oh, now we've got to really make it work. It was quite a challenge because we had the strand on the coast on one way, then we had all the vineyards and everything on another way, and then there was other stuff behind us. So we had to build it all up to hide all those areas. So we had a 360-degree set.
What's great about the set that we're on and what Aaron has created with Kepler 22b is that it's a terrain which is so alien to all of us. I mean, it's incredibly beautiful what they've done.
There are so many different parts of it. So you've got the silo field, the actual silos themselves, the barracks, the nursery, the church. It's an amazing place.
Building the whole settlement, Lawrenceford, it was such a large area. It's one of those things on a bit of paper it looks okay, but when you actually start, you think, oh my God, have we bitten too much off here? But it came together really, really well. A lot of it is just using what you've got. So when we were out scouting, we came across this forest, and we then realized that we could get those trees.
The trees were kind of remarkable. They are a family of aloe vera or cactus, so they don't need water. I think we must have transplanted 200, which are now sitting there growing very nicely in this very nice vineyard where allocation is.
We're kind of inventing or trying to invent the future. So, in a way, you've got to make it unbelievable, but believable.
To me, that's always been the threshold of science fiction. The trick is to create something that feels real, even if it's fantasy. Within the first few moments, you're automatically in the far future. We're on Kepler. We see a vehicle incoming. The vehicle lands with a lot of difficulty, and then we meet two people that are very odd in terms of their cadence and their character and their nature. We gradually realize that these are two AIs, and these two might be Adam and Eve.
With mother and father obviously being androids, their whole look needed to be otherworldly. So we created latex bodysuits to the kind of suffering of our lead actors.
We're wearing these very tight suits, I would say, that shows everything.
It's one of those costumes where it's so constricting. Moving is like an exercise in itself. And there are times where you're in this suit and it's so hot, you're sweating everywhere.
Because the suits are so fitting, the sweat just stayed with them until they peeled it off at night. It's like flooding the dressing rooms. But both Amanda and Abu, they were so good-tempered about it.
I am sweating buckets, but it's all good.
I could wear this all year, because I am.
Androids, spaceships, and planets. This kind of stuff has been done many, many times by many, many people, and there's ways to do it.
But Ridley is just very innovative visually. You think you're sort of seeing it all, and he makes something brand new.
Of course, it's always difficult trying to find something that's new and different. Let's do it 100 years in the future.
A lot of it comes from the idea of taking things that are familiar to us, but we're now seeing it in a different context.
One morning, Ridley said, I was just trimming my beard and I thought the Razor could be quite a good spaceship.
Tubes and pipes and jet engines, they're really getting boring. In 100 years' time, you will not have metal as metal. You will not have knobs and things like that. The thing will be such a smooth object, you wouldn't know what you were looking at. And that's my Razor, so I brought it and said, there's the lander. So we made an 8-ton electric Razor.
The beauty of South Africa here is there's been some pretty unique things that you couldn't do anywhere else. Normally, if you're in the US or the UK, we'd be doing plaster and fiberglass and all that kind of stuff. But what's been lovely here is I've never built spaceships as if you were building a yacht. It's all built out of little strips of wood. It's just a different approach. And it's been quite interesting. I've been joking all the way through, if we put a mast on it, do you think it'll float? Because it's just like a boat. The lab, in the original script, it talked about this wooden shed. And Ridley said, we can't have a wooden shed. And he goes, I want something like Lego bricks or something that you can throw down and it sort of pops up. And all of a sudden we saw a jelly mold. I thought, wait a second, that looks a little bit like Lego bricks. And he goes, yeah, that's pretty good then. So we sketched that up, and that's how the lab ended up looking like that.
There's no change in Ridley's approach to the scale of the show in any shape or form. As far as he's concerned, it might as well be a huge feature film.
There are elements of climbing out of holes, being attached to harnesses, which demand a certain level of physical activity. But then to be an AI, there is that sense of training to be an efficient machine and to make it look very easy. It's been quite intense. A lot of early morning wake-ups, training either once or twice a day.
I keep telling him, there's an easier way of rolling this. Just turn on the side. Hence it's a wheel. A little box. He doesn't want to listen to it.
I've been working out a lot. I had to build some muscle for this role, and I feel that they're coming.
The stunt team on this show are incredible. They are caring to us and to the art. They consider story in a lot of these sequences, and they make us look good to a degree. To be an actor and working alongside such a brilliant team just feels so safe and easy.
I can't believe it's this much fun to make sci-fi.
She would never do sci-fi again.
It's a sunny, happy day here in Cape Town. We're at the film studios, ready to do some cool stuff.
Action!
Today I'm being barbecued. That's my twin over there, my younger twin. He's taking all black.
Marcus suddenly grabs Ambrose and slams him into the rock. And then there's this magnesium-based explosion that happens on his back that sets him on fire. So obviously we need to put in a stunt double for that because you can't do that with the actor.
With this movement, I'm just taking 4 steps forward, falling to my knees and remaining burning in that kneeling position. So we're only able to really prep the back of my body. And it was about 32 seconds before I actually felt hot. Then you need to go to ground and into the safe position to be extinguished.
I love flame and I love setting things on fire. It's always a fun element to bring into play.
Oh, that's half of my hair, bro.
That's real love right there. Very good.
I have to say, this barbecue down Rose is rather nice. Go on, try it, please.
We've been here for 12 years. We thought we knew this region and all its dangers, but we don't.
One of the main story points of Raised by Wolves is Mother's alter character that she transforms into.
I'm not quite the android I thought I was. I'm a necromancer, which is a killing machine.
The necromancer effect is something that we've been developing pretty closely with Ridley. He has some pretty specific ideas. He wants her to turn into this bronzed version of herself. He's pulled a lot of reference from Inca and Mayan sculptures, so we have that digital version of her.
But all of that comes off of Amanda's performance as Mother, as she transforms into this necromancer. She does that a number of ways. She can walk and then suddenly rise up into the air, which we do with a collaboration with Stunts. And then computer-generated imagery takes over that transition. We might shoot Amanda on blue screen, doing the actions that she would do as the necromancer. Well, we don't use the image completely. We match move that performance. We take all the cues from the facial performance, her head turns, her arm movement, and transpose that into a CG character.
It's great being an android because then you can do lots of cool things. But being a necromancer, you can justify anything, you know?
She starts to realize that she has these abilities that her compatriot android doesn't have. And one of those abilities is she's able to kill people by just screaming at them, essentially. Ridley didn't want to do exploding heads, so we had to come up with what he affectionately calls the cauliflower head, which is she microwaves people from the inside out. Everybody's blood curdles and it boils and it blackens and it takes the path of least resistance out of their heads.
Mother's power is so great that it becomes a threat to everybody on the planet. She becomes unpredictable.
Once you thought you'd done crazy stuff for Mother, there's even more crazy stuff to do.
We've spilled a great deal of blood on this arc, and it's been quite a thing to say.
We worked out a very good system, and in one move I can kill 10 people in a room. Sounds brutal, but it looks great.
There's a lot of fun to walk down an aisle and blow people up.
It's a new innovation in gore.
This is way too gory. It's the most horrible thing I've ever seen in my life. You can't even see the corridor. There's so much blood. There's people slipping everywhere.
We did have a lot of fun that day. It sounds morbid, but we did.
There's been definite moments where we as a cast have sat around and read the script and been like, this is insane. Thank God we're not doing it. Because it's quite extreme at times, you know? But there's so much space and opportunity to explore. It's incredible to see on the screen.
When working with Ridley, it's not such a heady process. We just have fun with the material.
Not only are you watching a genius at work, you're also feeling safe with this genius at work.
He lets actors play. He creates the world, and you just play in it.
The way he tells these stories, everything's kind of a picture and an image and a painting. To see the script executed on that level, it's been pretty extraordinary.
What's great in the story is that Aaron has somehow left a space for interpretation that is many, many layers.
There will always be questions, and there will always be answers. But the more answers you get, the more questions come about. That is what's brilliant about the depth of this world.
It's not so black and white. The lines are blurred.
A subtle theme that runs throughout our season is the question of, are we just destined to repeat the same mistakes over and over again?
I think that's what's so clever about the scripts. They actually touch on some very sensitive issues of modern life.
You asked why I cared about Paul when he wasn't my own. I can't have kids. I had a bad miscarriage. So when we found Paul, I suddenly understood how, when people can't believe their luck, they have to make up a god to thank for it.
Surely we've got to learn about religion and violence, about how we deal with other people and other species.
When you take all of these themes and put it in a different universe and you cast it with things that are sort of alien, I think it allows us to process with a more open mind.
You served with the Atheist Brigade. We are of a like mind, you and I.
I don't think so. I've seen a lot of your kind kill a lot of mine.
We're not here to repeat history.
It's interesting that even given an entirely new realm to make different decisions, we haven't yet so far, at least not in season 1.
Mother and father still need to save the future of civilization.
Since they've arrived on this planet, they kept themselves going with the dreams of this tropical zone, which is sort of the most bountiful part of the planet.
this tropical zone. We want it to be all that. And very quickly we discover that it's not.
The beauty of it is a facade for what beneath is a very dangerous place.
I think this is something to really follow and watch, because the journey that Aaron is going to take us on is going to be incredible. So to be a part of that and just follow it through is something you really can't miss.
We'll see what happens in season 2.
That's it. Thank you very much.